You walk into their home. Everything is in its place. No dishes in the sink, no clutter on the counter. The floors are spotless. The pillows are perfectly arranged. And your first thought is, how do they live like this? But here's what nobody tells you. The person who keeps their house perfectly clean isn't just organized. They're telling you something deep about who they are inside. Today, we're going to uncover the real psychology behind people who can't stand a messy home. And what we find might make you see yourself differently. The first mistake people make is thinking this is about hygiene or about being a neat freak. But psychology tells a completely different story. Research on personality and environment consistently shows that people who maintain extremely clean and organized spaces are driven by something much deeper than tidiness. It's about control. Not control over other people, but control over their internal world. When everything around you is ordered, your mind feels ordered too. Psychologists call this environmental mastery, the feeling that you have power over your immediate surroundings. And for people who grew up in chaos, emotional chaos, unpredictable households, or environments where nothing felt stable, a clean home becomes a sanctuary, a place where finally they decide how things are. Here's something most people don't realize. Many people who keep immaculate homes struggle with anxiety, not always clinical anxiety, but a constant low-level hum of worry that lives just beneath the surface. And cleaning is how they manage it. When the mind feels overwhelmed, the hands start working. Dishes get washed, surfaces get wiped, objects get rearranged. This isn't compulsive behavior. It's a coping mechanism. A way of saying, I can't control what's happening out there, but I can control what's happening in here. Studies in environmental psychology show that cluttered spaces increase cortisol levels, the hormone associated with stress. So, for anxiety prone people, a clean space isn't a preference. It's a necessity. It's the difference between calm and chaos inside their own mind. Now let's talk about perfectionism, because not everyone who cleans obsessively does it from anxiety. Some do it from standards. These are people who have an internal image of how things should be, and reality needs to match that image. Psychologists call this adaptive perfectionism, when high standards actually improve your life rather than damage it. These people aren't cleaning because they're afraid. They're cleaning because disorder genuinely bothers them on a deep aesthetic and cognitive level. They think more clearly in clean spaces. They feel more creative. They perform better. And interestingly, your research confirms this. People who describe their homes as restful and restorative are more likely to have completed creative projects than those who describe their homes as cluttered. For these people, cleanliness isn't a chore, it's a tool for living well. Here's where it gets really interesting. The way someone keeps their home says a lot about how they operate in relationships. People with very clean homes tend to have high expectations of others, not just in cleanliness, but in behavior, reliability, and effort. They notice when people don't follow through. They notice when standards slip, struggle to relax around messiness. If you invite them somewhere chaotic, they'll be polite, but they won't be comfortable. Their nervous system is wired for order. Be extremely reliable. The same discipline they apply to their home, they apply to their word, their commitments, their schedule. These are people who show up always. Find it hard to ask for help because asking for help means accepting that something is out of their control, and that's uncomfortable. But let's be honest about the shadow side, because every strength has a cost. For people who use cleanliness as control, life becomes difficult when things can't be controlled. Illness, loss, change, failure. These aren't things you can wipe away. And when the mess is emotional, when it's grief or fear or confusion, cleaning the house doesn't fix it. Some of these people spend so much energy maintaining the outside that they neglect what's happening inside. The spotless kitchen becomes a way of not sitting with uncomfortable feelings. The perfectly made bed becomes a distraction from the perfectly broken heart. Psychology calls this displacement activity, doing something productive to avoid doing something necessary. So, what does it really mean to keep a perfectly clean house? For some, it's strength, discipline, control, high standards, a sanctuary they built for themselves. For others, it's protection, a way of managing anxiety, of creating order when life feels uncontrollable. And for some, it's avoidance, a beautiful, spotless way of not dealing with what really needs attention. Most people who clean obsessively carry all three of these at once, and that's not a flaw. That's just being human, trying to make sense of an uncertain world one clean surface at a time. Does this sound like you or someone you know? Leave a comment below.